Hi, it's Pastor Marty from the Afternoon Drive with a second video for this Friday. Well, David Hogg. Do you remember that name? Now, if you might be just pausing for just a split second to try to remember, why do I know that name? He claims to be a survivor of the Parkland school shooting, which happened down in Florida. Now, I say claims to be because right out the gate, I never totally bought this kid's story. And I did a couple of videos on it, and according to YouTube at the time, I was being too hard on a young man who was not yet 18 years old, and my videos were pulled, and I got a strike against me. It's funny, this kid could be part of a CNN town hall where he could absolutely just talk incredibly disrespectful and nasty to Dana Loesch from the NRA and Marco Rubio. That was perfectly okay. He could have his little anti-gun rally there in Washington, D.C., and even strike the Zig Heil pose. That was okay. But if any of us said anything about him, it's a violation of community standards. You can't do that. Well, he's over the age of 18 now, so he's a legal adult. But he claimed back in the day that he was home when the school shooting started. He heard it on the news, and he was just not going to allow one more time there to be the school shooting, and the politicians would say and claim that they were going to do something and then not do something. He was going to go down there and document and make sure that there was plenty of evidence and pressure put on Washington to make sure something was done. So apparently he got on his little bicycle and pedaled all the way over to Parkland School, and then we're supposed to believe that he got past all of the sheriffs and state police that had surrounded the campus. Remember, Sheriff Israel has lost his job, thank God. And all he wanted to do was join David Hogg and give speeches on how awful the NRA was and how awful gun rights were. Well, he has since lost his job, thank God. And he had a deputy that was there on scene but didn't want to go in, who also lost his job. You know, what would have happened? How many lives could have been spared had the police engaged immediately? That's a separate issue. So David Hogg supposedly got past their perimeter, got in the building, and then we're supposed to see him with his camera laying under a desk. I'm here in the school, and there's a guy shooting. And, you know, I'm sorry. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. And I said so, and I still don't. But, you know, David Hogg became this poster boy, this poster child for student activism. Well, if we're going to look at cheating to get into college, I'd like to take a look at how David Hogg got into Harvard. You know, just the other night, Alan Dershowitz was on Fox News. I sometimes refer to it as Faux Pas News, formerly known as Fox News. Really, Tucker, Hannity, and Laura Ingraham, about the only three part of the regular weekly lineup that still have a conservative viewpoint. Everything else on there, whatever. I guess Judge Janine on the weekend isn't so bad. I don't really ever get to watch her, and so, you know, Shemp Smith. I know people call him Shepherd. Shemp Smith, give me a break. And Neil Cavuto, come on. And Juan Williams, I'm sorry. There's not enough money on this planet. If you paid me to watch Juan Williams, would I watch Juan Williams? If I want to really just laugh at a know-nothing who likes to babble on television, well, I can do that for free watching Don Lemonhead over at CNN. So, David Hogg has now claimed that now that he's in Harvard, if we're going to look at how these young people get there, that's why I started to say Fox News. Pardon that brain freeze right there. Alan Dershowitz was on Fox News the other night, and he said that of all the schools mentioned, he was so glad Harvard was not listed as one of the schools that could be cheated. Not so fast, Alan. Let's take a look at David Hogg. He got into Harvard Law with an SAT score of 1270. What does that mean? Well, it means out of a possible 1,600, he finished at the bottom 25%. Now, schools like Harvard are not easy to get into, so the theory goes. And you would have to place at the very top. You need to have special recommendations. He got a 1270. How did he get in? Who paid? Who paid? If we're going to look at these Hollywood elites paying and bribing to get their kids in, who paid for David Hogg to get into Harvard? Because you know what he's going to do with that Harvard degree? Is he really going to practice law? No, he's going to go after the NRA and gun owners. He wants to gut the Second Amendment from the Constitution. That's what this little kid, this little punk, is going to do. Who paid? If we're going to expose the rest, let's expose David Hogg. Should he even be there with a 1270? Shoot, I got better than a 1270, and I didn't really take the SAT. I took the ACT, and I Christmas treed it. You know what that is. You just... I was 18 at the time. It didn't particularly interest me. When this was first reported back in December, the headlines were all, you know, that David Hogg had gotten in with a 1270, and they were asking the question, do these tests really mean anything anymore? Because they didn't want to even remotely think that somehow David Hogg had gotten in under, shall we say, suspicious circumstances. Obviously, institutes like Harvard don't really pay that close of attention anymore on simply your SATs. They're looking at your extracurricular and what you bring to the table in the way of social justice. And a check. Who paid? Who paid? I think it's time we asked. I think it's time we got answers. If we're going to investigate all these schools that can be bribed within the Ivy League, put Harvard on the block and have somebody investigate the money. As they say, follow the money. Was it Soros? Was it some left-wing groob? Who paid for this kid? And who, among some poor minority student or kid who had really worked his rear end off all through high school and got a 1600 on the SAT, didn't get a spot at Harvard, so that Harvard could make a social justice statement and take David Hogg? That's it. That's this rant. Hey, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell so that you get notification of all of my rants as they happen. I know, some of you are waiting. When are you going to do something about New Zealand? I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Until then, have a great day.